Hey, Wonderhussy here. If you've ever driven up US 95 between Las Vegas and Reno, well, you've probably never noticed the fact that there are willow branches with little ribbons tied to their tops jammed into the ground at 1 mile intervals, beginning around Mercury, which is about 45 minutes north of Vegas and is where the main gate to the Nevada test site is. The test site, of course, is where they detonated all those nuclear bombs back in the day to test them out in the event they needed them against the Soviets. Anyway, these willow branches are jammed into the ground at 1 mile intervals, beginning around the entrance to the test site in Mercury, and they continue all the way up north here to where I am now, outside Tonopah. In fact, there's one right here where I'm pulled over at the side of US Highway 6, about, 20 miles outside Tonopah. So you can see for yourself. It's a willow branch jammed into the ground. A few rocks piled up around the base to keep it standing in these crazy desert winds. And then you can see there's some strips of cloth tied like ribbons around the top. I'm telling you, next time you drive north out of Vegas, keep your eye out on the left side of the highway, which would be the west side. You'll see these things at 1 mile intervals all the way north. So what are they? Why are they here? And who put them there? Caveat, this is all 100% strictly hearsay, and I don't even remember who it was that told me this, but I feel like I did Google it, and I found some corroboration of this story you're about to hear. But don't take my word for it. Do your own research. So the story I heard was that even though they're not detonating nukes at the Nevada test site anymore, I guess they're still conducting some kind of nuclear power or nuclear weapons research, or I don't know. They're still doing some kind of stuff with nukes out there. And they do store low-level radioactive waste out there as well. So apparently there's a group of people who are protesting that fact. They don't like nukes, no nukes. Personally, I'm on the fence. I mean, I thought I've read that nuclear power is just as safe in the long term as other kinds of power with less pollution, but I'm not sure on that. I mean, I know, look what happens when you have a Fukushima or a Chernobyl. So I'm on the fence in all of this. I'm not taking a side here. I've got no horse in this race. But apparently there's a group of people who do feel very strongly about the U.S. nuclear program, and so they do a lot of protests up there. In fact, you can take a tour of the Nevada test site for free. I've done it a couple times. It's fascinating. You just have to sign up on you go to the Atomic Energy Museum website, and you sign up for a free tour, and they bus you out there. They take you onto the base. I mean, you have to stay with the bus at all times, but it's pretty cool, man. You get to see a lot of interesting sights. Unfortunately, they don't allow any photos or video, so obviously I wasn't able to make a video when I did the tour. But one of the interesting things about it is when you drive up to the main gate at Mercury, and you can do this, you can see this for yourself next time you're driving up 95. If you take the exit to Mercury, little sign says Mercury, that's where the main gate to the test site is. And right off to the left, just as you pull up to the gate, there's like a fenced-in kind of corral with one porta potty in the corner. Well, that's their jail. That's where they detain all the nuclear protesters that they arrest up there, which, gosh, I guess they see quite a number of them. I remember, about a year ago when that whole let's see them aliens thing was going on. There was some Dutch YouTuber, I think, who got arrested for trying to walk right into the test site and take video. Don't be stupid, people. You'll end up in that corral, which is what they call their jail, and a lot of these nuclear protesters end up there. Anyways, there was this one protester who decided that, just marching up there and getting locked in that corral wasn't enough. I think, or I was told, it was some kind of Native American elder or shaman or wise person, or maybe he was just like a peace warrior. This guy decided that the way to protest the nuclear program was, I mean, again, this is hearsay, but apparently this guy walked the entire way from Mercury to the northern entrance of the test site up here near Tonopah, walked the entire way, and every mile that he walked, he jammed one of those willow branches into the ground with the little ribbons tied around it. The entire way from Mercury to Tonopah. That's like, oh gosh, 160 miles or something. It's crazy. I mean, he must have had a support vehicle, I'm guessing. There's no way he carried 160 of these giant willow branches with him. So why did he do it? Well, apparently he had a theory, or maybe he was just casting a spell, that if he planted these willow saplings at 1 mile intervals, all the way from Mercury to Tonopah, and if at any point in the future, even just one of those saplings took root and actually started to grow and become a tree, then there would be world peace. Presumably there'd be no more need for nuclear weapons because all the nations would be living as one, as brothers and sisters, which is a really nice thought. Unfortunately, I've been looking at these willow saplings for a few years now, actually. Somebody told me about this a few years ago, and none of them seem to be taking root. I mean, just one look at the world's headlines will tell you that. Anyway, I'm blazing up and down the 95 between Vegas and Tonopah all the time, so I'm very familiar with those saplings. But I'm not up here that often. This is US Highway 6. At one time, it was the longest highway in the country. It went all the way from Provincetown, Massachusetts to Long Beach, California. I don't remember how many miles that is, but gosh, it was the longest highway in America. Now, unfortunately, for whatever reason, it dead ends at the base of the Sierra Nevada mountains in the town of Bishop. It doesn't go all the way to the coast anymore. But it's known as I think it's the Grand Highway of the Republic. That's a really cool name. And it's still a major highway in many parts of the country. Just not right here. I mean, you can see. I've been standing in the middle of the road, jaw-jacking, making this video for, gosh, 10, 20 minutes now. And not a single car has passed. So that poor Indian shaman, though, or wise man, peace warrior, I'm not sure what you call him. He came all the way up here, man, even to this desolate stretch of highway. It's amazing. So let's go check out this lucky willow sapling and see if it's taken root. Ugh. Even if it hasn't, it's just a beautiful day up here. Look at the fluffy white clouds. I mean, there is some kind of weather looming on the horizon, but right now it's just beautiful. Okay, here we are at the old willow sapling. Like I said earlier, he jammed it into the ground and put rocks around the base to make sure it didn't blow over. Because, yeah, it gets real windy out here. It's impressive that that thing is still standing. But unfortunately, I mean, it's mid-March, so if this thing was going to bloom, you'd see little buds or leaves or something on it. I think it's dead. No world peace today. Bummer. Oh, and then look here on the ground. Looks like there's another willow branch just laying on the ground here, which is interesting. I don't know why there's one so close to the other one. I mean, 1 mile intervals. That's like 2 feet. But it's interesting. I think I see another one just past this one. That's not a mile away either. Let's go hike over there real quick and check that out. By the way, I'm hiking along here and we still haven't seen another car pass. Boy, I know they call US 50 the loneliest road in America, but I mean, if you ask me, that's just tourist shtick. US 6, for those in the know, is the real loneliest road in America. I mean, once you leave Tonopah, there's no gas until you get to Ely, which I think is like 160 odd miles away. And that's like the only gas, the only store, the only anything. I think there's just like ranches and ghost towns all the way in between. So it is desolate. If you're a fan of lonely roads, you need to come check this out sometime. Oh, wow. Yeah, look, here's another one. And that's just barely, gosh, not even 1/8 of a mile away. Interesting. I wonder why he put two so close together. Maybe because, oh gosh, I have no theory. I don't know why. Huh, interesting. Oh, look at this old can. It's funny how this super old can, which by the way, that is super old, is just laying at the base of this poor little sapling. This one definitely doesn't look like it's gonna bloom anytime soon. It's sort of hanging its head in sadness. Just sort of gave up the ghost. Aw, don't give up now, little tree. You never know. World peace might be just around the corner. Well, I don't know about that. It seems like it's man's nature to continually try to beat each other up no matter what kind of weapons they have. But hey, what do I know? I'm just a hippie. I'd never even hurt a flea if I didn't have to. Well, actually, I'd probably kill a flea because I wouldn't want it to bite me. But, you know, anything that's not trying to hurt me, I'm not trying to hurt it. Anyway, next time you're driving along US 95 north of Vegas, and once you get to Mercury, where the test site is, check it out. And here's an easy way to know when you get to Mercury, by the way, incidentally. US 95 is a 2-lane highway through most of Nevada. It's actually pretty dangerous, you know, one lane going this way, one lane going that way. A lot of head-on collisions, you know, people speed, unsafe passing. Well, I guess there were so many fatalities on the highway between Mercury and Vegas, because a lot of people who worked out at Mercury would commute back and forth from Vegas, that the government actually funded an extra lane for travel on each side of the highway. So if you're driving south on 95 from Reno towards Vegas, it's a 2-lane road, it's real dangerous, and then mysteriously it all of a sudden widens up and becomes 2 lanes in each direction. Well, that's Mercury. You can thank the taxpayer dollars for that. The safety of the good folk who work at the test site. Incidentally, if you do have some information about this Native American guy, please comment below or send me an email or something, because I'm genuinely curious. He sounds like really a well-intentioned person, and, well, definitely a doer if he went through with this project, because, like I was saying, that's a lot of work to carry all these willow saplings and plant them all the way up here through this desolate, parched country. So I actually give this guy a lot of respect. I know a lot of you watching this are probably like, oh, what a hippie, what an idealist. But hey, man, he had a dream. It was a nice dream, and he carried it out. And it makes an interesting roadside attraction. So next time you're traveling up 95, stop and take a look and say a little prayer for peace.